Moxie Raya with Wheels playing for you right here on 88.2 Sanyu FM. It is the Hit Selector and I am Crystal. Thank you for joining us. I say us because I'd like to welcome my guest right now on Celeb Select. I have the lovely AISHA Alibhai here with me. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Crystal. Nice to be here.
Have you ever been in the studio?
Not really. I have visited your offices before, but I haven't come this far into the studio.
Oh, it's so nice to have you.
Thank you for having me here.
And you're looking beautiful, can I say?
Thank you. You've brought back lots of memories.
Oh.
I haven't been on radio for a while.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
How's
it's nice
that going?
to be here.
Do you miss it, I guess?
I do. I actually do. But you see, I'm the kind of person who likes to go into different things, try out new things. I've done so many things in my life that have shocked people, which I'll be telling you about as we go on with the show. Yeah.
Okay, so someone was asking me if you were Ugandan earlier today. After they saw your picture, like, okay, but is she Ugandan?
That question comes up all the time. When people hear my voice, the languages that I speak, well, they say I'm Ugandan. The minute I meet them, they're like, oh, hold on a second. Can you be honest? I am Ugandan. I was born in Soroti.
Okay.
Well, mine is a long story. If I had to tell my entire story, I'd probably write a book. My parents came to Uganda to... they were here as expatriates. Okay. My mom is Ugandan. My dad is Tanzanian.
Okay.
But then I was born in Uganda in Soroti. My dad was an expatriate, an instructor at the flying school in Soroti. So yeah, I like to say I'm Itesot because I was raised by the Itesots, and ever since then I can only identify with the Iteso.
Okay, so you were born in Soroti. You said your mom is Ugandan, but your dad is not.
No.
Tanzanian.
He's Tanzanian. But he also lived here ever since 1981. Yeah, since 81. He only retired a few years ago. Maybe about 5 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so you're Ugandan.
I am
That's
Ugandan.
done,
I am
established.
Ugandan, yes.
All right. So did you go to school in Soroti?
I studied in... mostly Soroti. In primary, I was in Pioneer Primary School.
Okay.
Then I went to boarding school, Madera, partly. My sister was in boarding school, so I kept bugging my dad, I want to go to boarding. So I went to Madera Girls.
Did you go early because your sister was in boarding school?
Yeah.
So how old were you then?
I was quite little.
Oh my.
Yeah. I remember I started boarding in P1 actually. P1 to about P4, then I got sick. The doctors discovered that I had very small veins. It's called angina pectoris.
Wow.
So when I'd get very angry or if I did any kind of sport, I would faint. Oh. So they had to take me out of boarding school because there was lots of digging and you know how some boarding schools are. Yes. There's lots of activities. So they took me out and then took me to Pioneer Primary School, which is a day school.
Okay.
I completed my primary 7 and then I went to St. Elizabeth Girls, which is also in Teso in a place called Serere. When I finished my senior 4, my sister again was in Namasagali College. Okay. So I told my father, hey, I'm definitely going to that school because I had lots of stories about it. So yeah, I moved to Namasagali for my A-level, which was a great experience.
A turning point in your life.
Yes.
Huh? Wow. So many of the guests I've spoken to speak about Namasagali as that place that somehow unlocks, I think, potential in so many people.
Yes, it does. There are many things about myself that I didn't know that I found out I could do in Namasagali. It wasn't just about imparting knowledge in you. They actually made you feel that you can take on the world and do anything and be anything that you want to be. That's something that I will always be thankful for. Okay. Always.
Now, you've talked about your sister. I want to take you back to your siblings. Was it just the two of you or was it a big family?
I come from a family of 6. Okay. I'm the 4th out of 6 children. But the interesting part is my siblings can't do anything without consulting with me first. So
okay, that worries me. Yeah. Is that in a good way or a bad way?
In a good way.
We're going to be in so much trouble.
I'm the daring one in the family. The rest are really calm.
Okay.
So every time they want to take decisions in life, they'll come to me first and say, even if they met someone and they want to walk down the aisle with.
Even the oldest?
Yes.
Wow.
Our firstborn is a girl, but she will always come to me and say, look, there's this thing. What do you think I should do? And I'll tell her, okay, if I were the one, I'd probably do it this way. But many times they'll go with my advice, interestingly.
Has it always been like that from even when you were little?
Yeah, not really. Okay, yeah. Like I would make them do all the crazy things. And my mom and dad would say, look, you're like the fourth, but these guys keep doing all the crazy things that you ask them to do. I was always the one leading the pact. The whole group was always following me. I was the youngest, even within other kids in the community. If I said let's go swimming in the swamp, they'll go. If I said let's go, cook under a tree with those small containers, they'll do it. Whatever I said, they'll definitely do.
So that means, let's just sum up your childhood. You were daring, you were
very
crazy.
Very daring.
You gave your parents a rough time.
I pity kids of today. They haven't had fun.
They've
missed a lot.
Oh, because when you talk about going swimming in the swamp, I'm like,
yes. I'd come out of a swamp with, what do they call them? With roots in my hair. When I get home, I get beaten for it. But the next day, we'll do it again.
Okay, so you said your older sister the oldest is a girl.
Yes. Followed by a boy, and then another boy, and then Aisha. And then there's we have a designer in the family. She's called AISHA ALIBHai. She does most of my outfits when I go emceeing. Then another girl, Ahlam, she's doing she's a medical student. Yeah, that's it. We're
six of you. Are you all close?
Very close. We are a very close family. Very supportive.
Okay.
Thankfully, none of us has gotten any partners in life, who have an issue with that. We are extremely close.
So that means you're always in each other's houses. You're always having.
When we come from a culture where if someone got married, we give them their space.
Okay.
But because I'm not married yet, you'll find that many weekends they come to my house.
Okay.
I'm the one who collects everyone. There's I'm doing some trauma in the house, they'll come. I have a party, they'll come. So yeah, many times. A few times we visit other siblings, but if let's say we had to do shopping, we do it together.
Oh.
If we decide, why don't we go shopping on Saturday? Everyone agrees. Yeah, let's do it together. So yeah, many times you'll find that, if we're taking kids swimming, we'll take them together. If there's a birthday, all of us will be there. It's always a family thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting. Okay, so taking you back to Namasagali, you said that's when you learned that you could do so many things that you...
Yes. The first time I held a microphone was in Namasagali. Yeah. I think that's cool, and Father Grimes and the other teachers and the people behind it, just I don't even know what word to use, but I think they would take time to study each student and know what they're good at and sort of encourage them
and push them in that direction.
So I figure they noticed I love to talk a lot, and then I where there's entertainment, you'll find Aisha, and if you find me there, I'll probably be the one for seeing the entire thing. So yeah, many events that we had, I'd be either MC, or if we had to perform as a class, I would ensure that I'm either miming or I'm acting or I'm doing something. So yeah.
So you spend a lot of time on stage.
Many times on stage, but the other thing that I also appreciate about Namasagali is that it was a mix of a lot of things. When it was class time, it was class time. If you failed your exams, you'd be punished for it, or you'd have to do a lot of coaching during holiday. So it was a blend of a lot of things. We didn't focus so much on MDD or acting,
because you also had the sports element, which was very strong.
Yes, we did. We had a program for the day. You'd wake up in the morning, do your morning preps, have breakfast, go into classes, and then in the evening we had a session for sports. And then every Tuesday was swim checks. You'd have to go for swimming. And then Saturdays was dance classes. So we only did dance classes on Saturdays. Then if we had a production coming up, the ones that we used to bring to the National Theatre, we would have to do it after prep.
Okay.
You do your prep first, and then you go for,
It's a good thing you're clarifying that, because a lot of people think, because you have so many creative people coming out of Namasagali and they'll do the dance and everything. If you weren't part of Namasagali, you'd think, oh my goodness, they put so much effort there, but it was well balanced.
If you look at the students that came out of Namasagali, both the university and the college, you'll find out that there are actually many lawyers, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
but many of them, for some reason, many of them, went abroad probably for further classes and ended up
Staying
living in
on
those
there.
countries.
Mm-hmm.
But then we also have doctors. We also have, but majority ended up in, on radio, or they're musicians.
arts.
There are actually so many of them that I could mention. Oh, the speaker, for instance, is a product of Namasagali
Yes.
College. So yeah, we have so many students from that school, but we ended up doing different things. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask you now for your first request, Sauti Soul.
Oh yes. Now
Nishike.
this,
Uh-huh.
yes, this song.
Yes.
The first time I saw the video, I was like, okay, if I was on the dance floor with someone that I love, like really, really, I don't know what would happen. Love that song. Like,
Love the
really
song.
love
The
that
video
song.
also gave me a moment. I was like, where are these men from? How is it possible they're just from Kenya? But anyway, here it is. Nishike. So you said you went to Namasagali College. What happened after Namasagali College?
After Namasagali, I went back to Namasagali University.
Okay. Mhm.
This is a part that people don't know. Very many people think that, most of these people have gone through, these big universities that are well known, that are heard of, like Makerere, or, Yeah, so when I tell them, I went through Namasagali, they're like, oh, they had a university. I'm like, yes.
They did.
We actually have very many lawyers and, who went through that university. Yeah, but unfortunately, when Father Grimes had to leave the country and hand over the school to government, the university had to be merged with Busitema. So, yeah.
That's what happened.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you went to Namasagali University.
I did a degree in journalism. Yeah.
So you knew at that point that, you wanted to talk
Yes,
more?
I did. In my senior 4 vacation, I worked at a radio station in Soroti. So my radio career started off in Soroti. It's owned by Captain Mike Mukula.
Yes, yes.
So, yeah, that's where my radio career started off.
Okay.
And every time, even my senior 6 vac, I went back and did my my radio thing. I used to do a lunch hour show, and I also used to read news in Kiswahili.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How many languages do you speak?
Oh, I speak quite a number. I speak Luo, but the thing with Luo is I mix Langi, Acholi, Kumam. I'll mix it all, but you'll understand what I'm trying to say. Then, of course, I speak very, very fluent Ateso, Kiswahili. I speak Luganda. I am learning the Western language, the Kinyankole and all these others. I have but maybe because most of my friends from that side speak to me in English, so I pick a few words, but I haven't learned as fast as I've been able to learn these other languages. I also speak a bit of Maasai.
Wow. It sounds like you're just good with languages also.
I am.
Because you have to be
If I
receptive
hang
to it.
around someone for 2 weeks, I'd live with a few words from your whatever language you speak.
Just 2 weeks. Okay. So you did journalism?
Yes,
and
I
then
did.
did you go back to that radio station? Or what happened next?
When I was at university, now when I tell people I have about 10 years experience in radio, they ask me how old I am. They're like, I have people even come up to me and say, when I was in like P7, I used to listen to you. And I'm like, you make me feel so old. So
I hear that all the time.
all the time. I'm like, but these ones also. Anyway, so I keep telling them, I started I moved to Kampala in my second year at university. The journalism class was moved to Kampala because remember there was that merging of two universities, Busitema and Namasagali. So we had to be moved to Kampala.
Okay.
Only the journalism class.
That's the journalism class.
So I was in my second year of journalism. I remember at that time, one of the radio stations here in Kampala advertised for, was it internship? No, I think it was a campaign on air. One of the presenters was going away on leave and they wanted someone to just sit in for them.
Okay.
So they asked people to, record themselves and send the recordings, and then the listeners had to pick their favorite. The more votes you got, your chances of being on air. I was the last person to bring in my recording. I remember my roommates. I had 2 roommates at university. There was one, Ugandan lady. The other one was Kenyan. They kept telling me, you can do it. You've been on radio before. Why don't you,
just try
it out. This might be your cue. I'm like, come on, guys. So the last day they grabbed me and took me there. I actually did the recording in that radio station's production room. Then they played it. They were about to close. So they played mine as the last one. Then after like a few days, they called me and said, look, you actually got quite a number of votes. You and another lady drew. So they decided that I would do 2 weeks and she'd do 2 weeks. We were asked who would like to start. And I said I would. I'd like to start. So when I started, the other lady, I don't know if she was intimidated or if she actually got problems because she wrote and said she couldn't come. Okay. So they asked me to continue. I did an entire month. And indeed, that was my cue. That radio station called me back. I think 2 weeks later, and they said would like to keep you on a permanent basis. Okay. That's how I got into,
And that was at university?
Radio. At university, second year campus.
Okay.
Yes.
And which radio station was that?
Capital FM.
Oh, okay. It was Capital. So you started then in Kampala?
Yes, in Kampala.
All right. Okay. How long were you at Capital FM?
I joined Capital FM in 2004. And I remember working there for 2 years, and then I was poached by another radio station. Yeah, at the time I was working with Gaetano Kagwa. We were doing a weekend morning show. But when I started radio at Capital, I worked with Alex Ndaula, with Olanya, and I sat in for Caritas while she was away.
Okay.
Yeah. So
then you were poached.
I was poached. The person who took me to KFM was Christine Mawadri. When she was leaving KFM, she was asked to pick someone who she felt would, fill into her shoes. And I think it was kind of a hard thing for her to, I don't know, maybe she wanted someone fresh who she could mold, who she could, help, grow into, like a better person on radio. I just remember getting a phone call. We had never spoken. She was not my friend. I'd never met her physically.
You never even met?
I'd never met her.
Wow.
I just received a call and she said she was Christine Mawadri. For a moment I stopped. I'm like, hey, this must be a prank or something like that. So she said, no, I'd actually like to meet you. And I remember that day my mom was around. She was at my flat. She was fixing us lunch. So Christine, I asked her to come over for lunch and she agreed. She sat with my family. We ate together and she broke the news. She said, listen, I would like you to take over from me if it's okay with you. And I said, yeah, it would be nice. Okay. It's an honor. So yeah, I went, met with the team at KFM. I didn't go through any interviews.
Whoa.
We just sat down in a room, spoke with the other bosses, and they said, would you like to start on Monday? I was like, yeah, I would love to.
Definitely.
Yeah, and guess who I was going to be working with? Another great guy on radio, Miche Gwang. So yeah, it was really nice.
Okay.
Really, really nice.
Wow. All right. Okay, I'm going to ask you now for your second song and then we get back to that. Despacito.
Yay.
Despacito.
Now, funny thing is, many people think this song is Justin Bieber's. Yeah.
He pretty much, put his stamp on it and the world was like, they paid attention.
Yeah. If you asked anyone, they'd say, oh yeah, Justin Bieber song. Yeah, I love that song.
It's Daddy Yankee, actually.
It's Daddy Yankees. That's a song that would get me dancing if I was at a party, or I rarely do, clubs.
You rarely go out.
When I had my son, a lot of things changed. So yeah, many times I'll either be emceeing at a function and I'll dance to one song before I head home. Okay. But if you wanted me to dance, definitely this song.
This would be it. All right. Have you noted that? Okay. Despacito.
Despacito, quiero respirar tu cuello despacito. Deja que te diga cosas al oído.
When I joined KFM, even within the company, they were very worried. Very many people thought that, this chick is just, one of those chicks. Will she really be, as good as Chris? And people start comparing you to the person that you're taking over from. It was one of those I didn't pay attention to that. I'm one person who, when I decide to do something, I give it my whole. And I think because my parents have always told me I can do anything, and then I'm a sagali, they tell you know what? Focus. When you want something, just focus on that thing and work hard towards it. So there is no one moment that I can tell you that anyone put me down. I used to hear a lot of things.
Yes.
Even from the top bosses, some were worried. They were like, will she? Will she make it? Because we had a week to prepare for it. There was photo shoots. There was lots of billboards in town during the launch of that. They had to launch the show from one name. I think it was Monitor FM.
When you were switching to KFM.
Yeah, I remember it had a different name. They were switching to KFM. Then they even the name of the show was changing. So there was a lot of changes being made. People were worried. They put in a lot of money. And they kept saying, are you guys sure? Are you really sure? She was doing a weekend show. Fine. She sounded good. But anyway, yeah, when we started off, everything went well.
Okay.
I myself was very shocked. In, I think, about a month, we had turned things around. Yeah. But the unfortunate thing is, well, unfortunate, but also fortunate. Mitch had to leave, I think after 2 or 3 months. We were just going up and then he had to leave. So we had to recruit a new person. I wasn't part of the selection. I was only told that we've hired so-and-so.
Yeah.
Another very good friend of mine was coming. By the way, we had never physically met. Roger Mugisha.
You'd never met?
I used to listen to him when I was at campus before I came to Kampala. And I loved the way he does things. I think I only saw him one time. He had a show in Bali, but we didn't talk. So when he came on board, I wasn't sure of how, because he used to do that love thing in the night. So morning show, I was like, okay, we'll see. But when he started it off, we actually had a stronger chemistry than any other person that I've ever worked with. We kicked it off just like that. And honestly, I think working with Roger was the best thing that I've ever done. It was the best time of my career, my radio career.
And you worked together for a long time.
We did.
How long
did.
was that?
We did a lot of things both on air and off air. And when I say a lot of things, I know people are getting all kinds of ideas. Not those things you're thinking about.
Yes, please be very clear about this.
Roger and I think, have a lot in common. He's he's very emotional. I'm emotional, but I handle my emotions. But when we see someone suffering, for instance, I know newspapers, especially Bukit Day, they used to write about, people going through all kinds of, problems. There was this particular time, there was a woman in, was it Rubaga Hospital, who had failed to pay bills. Her son was suffering from HIV. Her husband took off after finding out that, they had HIV. Her family deserted her. She couldn't pay the bills. The hospital was confused on what to do. And I just know she was in a lot of trouble. So I think one of the Bukit Day writers took interest in that story and they wrote this story. So when I saw it, I told Roger, this is it. We're not going to sit. We always talk about people's problems here on you do the press review. A woman in has failed to pay her bills. I'm like, we're not just going to read headlines. We're going to try and do something about it.
This time.
We're going to lobby and ask other partners to come on board. And when we did it, this lady got, other big telecoms coming on board. All kinds of people came on board. She made so much money. So she was actually able to even leave the hospital with a lot more money to go and start a life.
Yes.
This boy was well taken care of. The only thing we didn't do is do a follow-up. We don't know where she ended. She left and I think went to the village or something like that. So we lost touch with her. But I know she left with lots of money. And for me, I felt fulfilled, like we had done something and not just read about it. So yeah, my radio days, KFM, great.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fabulous. And speaking of your own son.
Oh.
Yes. How
that
old is your
little
little
man.
boy?
The only man who stole my heart.
The
That's
only one?
The only man who stole my heart. He has my heart in his hands like this. Yeah.
Okay.
He's turning 4 on the 23rd of Feb. When he came into my life, I was still young, excited about life, always going out, hanging out, lots of friends, some good, some crazy, some, you know how it is. I had lots of money. I used to do a lot of gigs.
At
So
that time.
if I'm not traveling abroad, I'm here taking girls out, more of a bad black of sorts. So my life was, when that boy came into my life, he changed a lot of things.
Because he was saying now you go straight home.
I realized that, okay, I'm going to be a mom now. And when I saw him, the first time I took a look at this boy, I was like, wow, he's actually my child.
He came from me.
From me. That's my kid. Wow. So a lot of things have changed about me, Crystal. I told you, out of my own choice. No one is forcing me to do this.
Okay.
I love to spend time with my son. If I'm not at work, I'm home. I just enjoy every moment with him. All these things he says, all the things he does. Sometimes we're friends. When I stop him from doing things, he says, Mommy, I don't like you right now. So yeah, all these moments we share. Today, I had to go to his school. He had a concert, and watching him dance, watching him do all these things, every day with my son just steals my heart away. So he's changed my life.
Boy.
You can't get me to a club now unless there's a serious reason for me to be there. If I'm not emceeing, then unless it's a best friend's birthday party. But these things of come we hang out, no, they died out completely. And also
okay, your next song, your next request is one from Shiba.
Yes. Why Shiba? I'm the kind of person who not only likes to promote international music or anything international. I believe in our very own. So if you ask me to pick an artist that I would sit and watch on stage, I'd pick Shiba. Why Shiba? Because she's very talented, and I think she loves what she does. She gives, when she's on stage, she means business.
Yes.
And then, that chick, she has energy, yeah?
For days.
Yeah.
Well, here's Shiba with Nkwatako.
Baby, sutako, togenda kumako, lero tobako.
88.2 Sanyu FM Celeb Select, and I'm chatting with AISHA ALIBHAI right now. My name is Crystal. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh my goodness, AISHA, not enough time, eh?
I know.
Not enough time.
I know. This is a 1 hour show, right?
Pretty much.
I feel cheated.
I might keep you all the way.
They should give you more hours. I feel cheated, Crystal. We've just started.
Okay,
I told you my life. If I tell you my stories, you'd need.
There's just so much that has happened.
You need so many hours.
You talked about your days with Roger on radio were some of your best times ever, and then you went off radio for a bit.
I did.
Was that your choice to leave? Because you went off radio for like 2 years and then you came back again.
Yes, I did. I think about 3 years actually. I went into banking. I have this friend. She was a lecturer at Chambogo University, but she's now a lecturer at Michigan University. She talked to me about a career change. She said, listen, you're very good on radio. You've done it for so many years, but you might want to build on your CV. And for me, that was a turning point. She said, there's this bank. It's new on the market, but I think that if you joined it, you'd grow with it. And they were advertising for positions. One of them was PR officer. So, I sent my application. And I was called for an interview. That was the very first time I sat for a very serious and very formal interview. There was a panel of like 10 people. And they were throwing all these questions. I was like, Jesus, am I going to survive this? So I went into banking. I worked with Global Trust Bank. At first, I was the PR officer. I had a boss who was in charge of the department. And then after, I think about 6 months, she left. I had to oversee all the branches in the country. And they didn't recruit anyone else in that position. I think I was doing a good job. I was the person behind their maiden, they had this campaign. Banks usually have campaigns where you deposit money and win lots of things, especially during the end of the year. When I left banking, Monitor called me back.
Okay. So you did Monitor your 3 years.
Yes. So Monitor Publications called me back. They wanted someone to fill in the communications manager position.
Okay.
So I went back. And then while there, they also asked me if I could do the morning show because they had issues with, their ratings at that time. So I said, okay, that's fine. So I'd do the morning show in the morning, finish at about 10, then go on my desk.
Long days.
Long day. My son really suffered at that time because I would leave home at 4 in the morning and then go back home at about 8 because of traffic jam. So I wake up, leave him asleep, come back, find him asleep. The only time you'd see me was weekends, but our weekends. Saturday, sometimes you have an MC
You're
job.
Still working.
Sunday is when I would spend time with him. Yeah, but Sunday you're also worn out. You want to rest.
You're tired.
I had to make a choice. I couldn't go on with it.
Okay.
So I put in my resignation after, I think it was almost a year. It was too much. I needed to choose between family and work.
Sometimes you have to make that choice.
Yes. So, well, being the new mommy and one mommy who is so in love with her son, my son won. I put in my resignation and went into consultancy. And I went to Dar es Salaam. I did about a year and a half. I set up a radio station there.
So did you move with your son?
I did. He actually studied in partly in TZ. While I was there, I finished my consultancy, set up the radio station, handed it over, and then came back. I was here for a short break. Then I had about another position. It's a government job with National Forestry Authority. So they advertised. They needed communications and PR manager.
Okay.
I applied for the position, and then I was called for written interviews. They shortlisted, and my name was in it. I went back to Dar, and then I got called. Hey, your name is on the on the list of people who are meant to go for another round of interviews. This time it was oral. You can't beat me on orals. You can't beat. I was like, orals.
I got this.
So all I did was go on their website, get a few facts about the company and what they do. And when I got called in there, I just knew it was a walkover. So yeah, I got the position, and I now work with National Forestry
So you
Authority.
moved back home to Uganda.
Yes, I'm back in Uganda. I think I'm only 10 days old in that job.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very
That's very
much.
new.
Thank you. So yeah, now that I work with them, I'm always out of town, going to these forest reserves. We oversee about 506 forests, forest reserves.
Okay.
506 all over the country. We ensure that they're protected, that nobody tampers with these forests, and that we also plant more trees.
Which we need desperately.
You know the story about climate change.
Yes.
We're also getting a bit of its effects. So yeah, we encourage people to plant trees. We actually partner with many communities around these forest reserves to plant trees. We partner with, we could come to Sanyu, we partner, we take you there, plant trees. We provide land and seedlings.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's a new exciting project that you started.
That's a new project that I'm working on. Yes.
So
I have a son who I love very much. I wouldn't want climate change to affect him.
But you've spoken a lot about your son.
Yes.
But not much about his father. Or should I say nothing about his father?
You didn't ask.
I'm asking now.
What do you want to know about the father?
Is he in his life?
Yes, he is.
Are you together?
No, we're not.
Okay.
We're not together. But he's in his life. He loves his son very much. He's always with him. When there's a need, he's there. But yeah, he's always with him.
Okay.
But
so if you're not with him, are you in a relationship right now? You gave me permission to ask.
Crystal.
Yes.
We might have to have wine and talk about this thing. Like a glass of wine, you and I.
That will still happen.
Oh, am I in a relationship? I don't know.
Well,
how
by
to
the
tell
time
me.
you're thinking about it, that means
Okay,
yes,
there's someone asking me out, but I've not given a positive answer yet. He's actually not just asking me out; he's asking for my hand in marriage. But yeah, we're still there.
Okay.
Still there, not decided yet.
So you're still considering his proposal.
I am one person, by the way, and I'm sure he's listening. So take notes. I'm one person who is very hard to impress. I don't know if it's a bad thing, but I'm not the kind of girl who just jump into someone and next thing you know, because everyone is getting married. Oh yeah, opportunity. I do things
at your own pace?
At my own pace, but I also think through it. I think about 10 years from now, will I still be in love with this person? Marriage is not just about getting married, but can you sustain the relationship?
Yes.
Is he the kind of person that I would still want to be with 10 years from now, 50 years from now? That's the one thing. It's not about money. It's not about wealth. It's not about all these things that come with it. It's not about impressing the people around you or even your parents. It's you who is going to be in the marriage at the end of the day. So I think about a lot of things. Do I learn anything from this person? Day in, day out?
Do they
build
you?
Do they build me? Do they add any value into my life? These are the things. My mom found out I was pregnant when I was 7 months pregnant. Yes, she didn't know, and she was with me for a couple
How
of
did
months.
you pull that off?
I think because of my I'm not that skinny, so yeah.
What do you mean? You
My
were,
tummy wasn't showing
you just said you were together. Like
the
for a
entire
couple of
time.
months.
I didn't get morning sickness, thankfully. And then I worked like a donkey. I was at the bank at the time. There was no day that I got an off. So yeah, my mom didn't know. My brother actually was a snitch. He told her that these guys are hiding something from you, and she kept pressing till we told her, and she was very emotional about it because my sisters got married before having kids. So she said, "You call your father. I'm not gonna tell him. You call your father." I called my dad. I thought my dad was going to disown me. He gave me a very interesting response that I'm still shocked to this day. He told me, he first kept quiet for a few minutes. I'm like, "Hello, are you still there?" He's like, "Aisha, you're not the first girl to have a kid at home. Please keep your child. I don't want to hear any other story. Keep your child." And that's what he told me. He said, "We'll support you." For me, that meant a lot.
Yes.
It meant a lot. I don't encourage girls to have kids before marriage or while you're in school or whatever it is. So having a child is not the end of life. It comes with its hardships. But you can do it. If our parents raised us with muogo and water, what about you?
Yes.
Downtown, there are clothes being sold at 500 shillings. Come on, you can do something to survive.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, again, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so
Pleasure
much for
you.
having me here, Crystal.
And your last song is one Clean Bandit, Sean Paul, Rockabye Baby.
Why did I choose this song? I may not relate with the person they're singing about because I'm not a pole dancer. But the words, this lady sounded as though she's singing to her son, saying, "I'm here, no one is going to hurt you. I'll always be with you. I'll make sure, things are right with you." That's how I feel about my son. I'm in love.
I can see that.
I'm
clearly.
in love. I'm in love. Yeah,
All right.
my son. That song. Every time I hear it, it's as though I'm telling him, "Hey, babe, calm down. Hey, mommy is here.
Mom is right
Mommy
here.
is right here.
Okay.
No one is gonna do anything to you. Mama is here."
Okay, here it is, Rockabye. Again, thank you so much. And
Thank you, Crystal.
Enjoy your weekend with your
Thank you.
love. Here it is.
A special bond of creation. For all the single moms out there going through frustration. Clean Bandit, China Ball, and Marie thing make them air.
She works the nights by the water.